Alright, we're back. Now, from where we left off, I had already gone through the ordeal that you will go through with that little clip. We're back the way it needs to be. At this point, everything's clean, ready for reassembly, ready to go back out in the field. First place you start off is the last place you left, and that's this piston. This thing can only go one way. You can't mess it up if you try. I mean, you could try to put it in this way. It's gonna, you'll be able to see that that's wrong. So, throw your piston back in your gas block. Get nice in there. Let me make sure you all can see this. And it's gonna go tip in first. You want to make sure that it snugs up, or you'll come into problems up here if it doesn't. Kind of give it a twist to the left and right a little bit, make sure it's snug, and come up here without bringing this clip out of the trail. You want to go ahead and kind of wiggle it just a little, enough to let that go down. You will feel it seat. Once it's seated, there's no special rhyme or reason to it. It's seated, it's good to go. You can go ahead from that point and push your clip all the way back down to its seated position. You'll know it's in its seated position because it'll get to where you can't pull it with your finger again, and the bend on the end of the clip is in that crevice. Gas block is done. Now, same thing with the strap on. This kind of becomes a little bit more work than necessary, but it doesn't hem you up too bad. Putting the stock back on, main tip is to start with the front first. Get to where you can see it. Put that in there, and everything else will fall into suit. You'll kind of feel it hook and hook forward, going that direction. You're in there. There might be a little play there, but all that play will eliminate itself once your trigger guard is back in assembly. Now you're good once you can feel that that's in there. Your front is flush. Everything looks nice. You can go ahead and flip it back over to the position where you're on your secure surface again. This is where you have to do some pushing. Alright. Trigger assembly. Goes back in that little divot just like I told you so. And side note, if you had the factory magazine, this is where you would put it back in. But being that I don't have that, I kind of skip that step. If you have the factory magazine, I recommend maybe going to watch another video to look at exactly how that goes. Either way, this trigger assembly, there's nothing to it. When you put it in that divot, there's a little bit of tension there, but it will go right down. And then you kind of just give it a good push, and it will go back down. And if you're on a secure surface, it won't fall, won't slide off the table, anything of the such. Now, you can flip the rifle back over, and at this point, you can put your bayonet back in because you're secure. Flip the rifle back over. All your play that was in that should have come out. If not, you may have a couple of issues. Go back and retrace your steps. Now we get to the bolt. As I told you before, you want to make sure that that firing pin is clean. You've got plenty of play in there. And then you want to make sure that these go back together in the way they are supposed to meet. That's what it should look like. Look good? Alright, now gravity can kind of play a trick on you here. Putting it back in, there's not too much to it other than keeping it together. It'll kind of slop out on you and not go in right if you let it. You get it in there, and it's nothing more than just straight forward. Make sure it's locked all the way. Sometimes it'll want to just seat right there and not go further. Just give her a wiggle, kind of bring her back some. Make sure it's locked forward. Got your spring. You can wipe it off, spray some oil on it. These things are more durable than you'd think. Some people actually put this side in first. It's completely personal preference. I put the straight side in. That's the way it was when I got it. That's the way I'm going to keep it. And last step is the dust cover. Now, putting this on, same as everything else with this rifle. It goes right into the groove it's meant to go into. And what you are left with is a little bit of tension here. Nothing crazy, just enough to push on and feel that there's a little bit of a spring there. You want to get your pin back in that upward position. Push this all, make sure it's flush, and it will pretty much fall in there. You actually just seen that. It will go right into the place once it's in the direction it needs to be. Just like that. Now to finish up, slide it back down in the lock position, make sure it's snug. And at this point, you will check for function. Slide goes back, slide goes forward, everything feels nice. And now you can take your safe off. You know you're unloaded because you have not loaded the gun back yet. You can dry fire to check for function. Alright guys, I appreciate you watching my video. This is the first takedown and reassembly video I've done. Plan on doing a few more. I'm going to get into videos of all sorts. So like I said, I appreciate you all watching. If you're a YouTuber, subscribe. Any questions, guys, feel free to comment, message me, whatever you got to do. I appreciate the time.